Bettor Sports Betting is your home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servadidio.
What is going on, everybody? No Dan Servadidio here today. Jon Impemba filling in with his usual Thursday co-host, James Grande, here breaking down some Thursday night football action, taking a look at tonight's 4-game NBA main slate. Grande and I, man, we're here to take you through the next half hour or so. Do you have any questions? Feel free to throw them in chat. Can you tell us what your plays of the day are today as well? Happy to go through and give us everybody maybe some winners here tonight, Grande.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Maybe?
Guaranteed?
Guaranteed.
You can't guarantee anything these days. They yell at us.
No, you can't. That's true. More likely than not to hand out some winners. How about that?
True. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's not a guarantee.
More likely than not. I think that's how they got Tom Brady. More generally aware, I think is what they said. He was more than likely aware of the deflated footballs going on, generally aware. So more likely than not, we're going to be giving you guys some winning picks here tonight for Thursday night football. Tennessee versus the Pittsburgh Steelers here this evening, kicking us off for Thursday night football. We got Will Levis starting tonight for the Tennessee Titans. Kenny Pickett looking ready to go here tonight for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers are at home. They are 3-point favorites, but a 37 total in this one, Grande. If it wasn't for Will Levis, this game would be almost unwatchable. I think that it's just the Will Levis appeal, the hype coming off of his debut is going to have more people interested in this matchup than they otherwise would be with these two teams that, the name cachet with Pittsburgh's fine, but the play on the field for both of these teams this year has been pretty ugly.
Yeah, I mean, the most interesting thing I find about this game is that I just still, and I know it's like that Will Levis puts mayonnaise in his coffee. Like that's still like the most interesting thing I think about this game. It's going to be a bad game. For what it's worth, the Steelers are 4-3. They're one of 4 teams in that division. All 4 teams in that division over 500, and you wouldn't know it based on their play, but the Steelers' defense is really good. Their offense really isn't good, and this is obviously Will Levis' first test. I shouldn't say Atlanta was a walk in the park. DeAndre Hopkins is down there somewhere. Worked 3 different times, so we'll see if that works against a really good Steelers defense. I suspect it doesn't. If I were leaning this game, I definitely am on the Steelers money line of the two sides. I'm not betting either side, but I would be on the Steelers side of this game for sure.
I saw a stat today, and I guess I should have fact checked it before I say it here live on air.
Love that from you, John.
Because I don't really know if it's true or not, but it feels true that the last quarterback to throw a touchdown to Deontay Johnson was Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, he didn't score one last year.
Didn't score one last year, right? So it's hasn't scored one this year. Didn't score one last year. No. So the last QB to throw a touchdown pass to Deontay Johnson was Ben Roethlisberger. Feels ages ago at this point here. The Steelers might be a quarterback away from being a quarterback away at this point. I like their talent, like George Pickens, like Deontay Johnson. I think Najee Harris is probably better than a lot of people give him credit for. That offensive line hasn't done them much help, but quarterback position has just been absolutely abysmal for the Steelers here over the last couple of years. You thought Pickett in the first round maybe would have been it. I know a lot of people in Pittsburgh like to blame the offensive coordinator, Matt Canada. Definitely not necessarily putting game plans out there that are, forward thinking or up with the times. You see a lot of these dynamic young offensive coordinators that are so good that they become head coaches in the NFL, like Mike McDaniel and the guy in Detroit. A lot of people are talking about Johnson, I think his last name is. Ben Johnson. Yeah, could be a future NFL head coach because they have these dynamic, inventive offenses, and then Matt Canada's out there running the same offense he's ran for, looking like 20 years ago. The same thing with the Patriots. Bill Belichick's running the same offenses that he's had since he's had Tom Brady. And that's why these offenses just look stale. They're not able to move the ball. Defenses are caught on. They know the tendencies at this point because they know the offense that's being run. And I think that's really hurting what Pittsburgh could be doing, which is probably why, again, it's only a 3-point spread here. It's a 37 game total.
Yeah, our boy Adam Bernard, the producer of today's show, you can find him on Twitter at Pucking Thoughts. Hockey Savant said the last Deontay Johnson touchdown was from Big Ben in their wild card loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, John. So your spotty fact checking actually panned out for you. So good job on your brain for remembering.
Shout things out, check later. That's sort of it's not a lie if you believe it. I think the great George Costanza once said.
Sure.
So if I just talk confidently about it, people will never know the difference. Let's get into some of our favorite props here for tonight. Actually, do you have a take on the spread of the total? We didn't really go over that at all. I don't really know which particular way you may lean on this one. What are you thinking here?
Steelers. I wouldn't bet it, but I would bet Steelers money line. I think
you wouldn't bet Steelers, but you would take Steelers minus 150 if you were going to bet.
Yeah, if I were going to bet, I would definitely lean Steelers money line in this game. Not comfortable with the 3 points, but I'm comfortable enough with the Steelers defense
with the winning
against a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I'm going to go there too. I actually think that I'm going to go over on this point total at 37. I think these teams might be bad enough that the offenses could score. Surprisingly, but I think Pittsburgh still takes the win on this one as well. Let's get into some player props here. What's your first prop of the night here for this game, Grande?
I'll double up on one because I'm going with a Kenny Pickett double barrel shotgun action with Kenny Pickett tonight. I don't think he throws a pick tonight. I'm going under half an interception, minus 130 over on BetMGM. He has not thrown a pick in 3 straight games. You're speaking of Matt Canada. There has been a very conservative approach, and I know that there was an injury last game, and he's been cleared. But two starts ago, just 25 attempts. The start before that, 32 attempts. In Houston, 23. Since the first game of the year, he's thrown 32 times or fewer in every game, and that's been largely due to how bad their offenses look, largely due to Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris. Carrying the workload. So I'm going to go under on the half an interception. Also, Tennessee has the fewest interceptions in the league this year, too. And they traded away their best second member of their secondary to Philly last week. So I think Kenny Pickett can, I don't think Tennessee is going to pick it.
I was going to say, how is he going to work it in? I knew you were. I knew you were trying to figure out a way to get Pickett into the thing there. I like that. That's fine. I have kind of like a combined play with yours, so I think he can still hit. I think we can both hit this play. So you have Kenny Pickett under a half an interception on BetMGM. I actually like combined total interceptions. Pickett Levis over 1.5 at plus 105. I think it's more than likely that Levis throws 2 interceptions tonight to go over, but 1-1, sure, both happens. Hopefully it doesn't, so you win and I win here. Okay, but Pittsburgh's right in the middle of the pack with turnovers with 7 interceptions on the season. They are home. Will Levis, sort of the book on him was cannon of an arm, but not really that accurate as a quarterback. Looked great last week, obviously, in that matchup against, I think it was Atlanta. But I'm willing to give an opportunity to hear now a Thursday night football game, short week of practice, get ready, coming off of such a big performance that we see a step back a little bit from Will Levis here tonight. And I think some of those downfield throws that DeAndre Hopkins was just able to manhandle away from some of those Falcons players isn't going to be the case here today. I think the Steelers get to Levis. So we're going to go Pickett Levis over the 1.5 interceptions, but that's only because I couldn't find a straight Will Levis interception prop on BetMGM. So plus 105 on the combined total this evening.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that it's just Will Levis induced here because obviously I took the direct opposite. I
Right.
to back Kenny Pickett a little more, just like looking through Kenny Pickett. I know he had the 2 picks opening night. That's San Francisco, whatever. He threw a pick against Cleveland. They've obviously been an elite defense this year. When you look back to his last 7 games last year, he threw 1 pick. And then again, like we're kind of getting that again this year where he's only thrown 1 pick in his last 5 games. So like he has really been good at not throwing interceptions. So I'm hoping this is Will Levis induced because, then I lose. I will double down on Kenny Pickett props here, John. I think Kenny Pickett is going to have over, this is really exciting, 2.5 rushing attempts tonight. And I know that he's coming off an injury, and I know maybe a little more conservative approach. But when you're dating back to last year, he's hit the over on this 7 of his last 10 games, and he's hit the over on this in 10 of his last 14 games overall. So Kenny Pickett is a part of the offensive rushing. When the plays break down, he is not afraid to use his legs. Now, he's not like really that fast, and he's not like going to break big plays, but he has mobility. He uses his legs a bunch. So I'm going to go over 2.5 rushing yards to stick with attempts to stick with the Kenny Pickett props here.
Sure. For me, I'm going to go with Kenny Pickett's number 1 wide receiver here. We're going to go with Deontay Johnson over 58.5 receiving yards. He's gone over this total in each of the 2 games that he's played since returning from his injury. The target share we know is there. He's projected for like 8.5 targets, I think is the line here tonight. So I'm liking both of those numbers here. Again, Tennessee, one of the worst pass defenses in football. Against Jacksonville last week, 8 catches on 14 targets for 85 yards. Against the Rams the week before, 5 on 6 targets for 79 yards here. Even in the debut game where he got hurt in that game, he already had 3 for 48. So this feels way too low. I'm not really sure why it's what it's at, but maybe they weren't sure on Pickett versus Trubisky. I have no idea. I like the over on the Deontay Johnson receiving yards tonight.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson can definitely pick it from Kenny tonight.
Sure. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it as well. You can never have that button too close.
This is what I have to deal with the entire NBA DFS show. It's just
and MLB as well.
And MLB just dad jokes the entire stream. So
hey, man, one day
enjoying them as much as I am brings a lot of flavor to the show.
One day you'll learn, John. One day you'll learn. Adam says the cursor is always nearby. That is smart, Adam. That is smart. My last Thursday Night Football prop, I'm going to stick with the Steelers here as a theme. And I'm going to target here the Steelers tight end. I'm going under 12.5 yards as the longer reception for Connor Hayward. Now, I like the snap share for Connor Hayward filling in for Freiermuth. 56, but then 86, 73. He's seen a decent amount of targets over the last 3 games, 4, 3, 6. But, John, through 5 games this year, Connor Hayward's long reception, 12 yards. They put it at 12.5. I've already talked about how I think, Matt Canada, and you've talked about it as well, is conservative, and they're not throwing the ball that much. Right. With Deontay Johnson back, with George Pickens healthy, the ball being driven down the field is not to Connor Hayward. He is not Pat Freiermuth.
Both running backs had 6 targets last week as well, Jalen Warren and Najee Harris. So,
yep. So I just don't see Connor Hayward being a guy that's having the ball driven down the field to him at all. So under 12.5 yards of a long reception for Connor Hayward. Minus 110 on BetMGM, basically a pick 'em. But in 5 games, he has yet to go over this mark.
Sure. I like that one. And my final play here, again, I was actually looking on Underdog Fantasy. They have times that Will Levis gets sacked at 2.5. I took the over on that one over on Underdog. Best I could really find here is TJ Watt tackles prop. TJ Watt over 2.5 tackles tonight. It's minus 150, so it's juiced up a little bit. But sacks count as tackles, so you got to figure TJ Watt's going to get in the backfield here. Against Will Levis in this offense. Levis was sacked twice in that opening game against the against the Falcons. Pittsburgh at home definitely has a really good pass rush to get after the quarterback. But then what does Tennessee like to do? They like to run the football. So Derrick Henry, the number of stretch plays and carries that he gets, I'm sure Watt will be in on some of those tackles here this evening, given the juice line at minus 150. So TJ Watt over 2.5 tackles. I like you can find a Will Levis times sacked prop somewhere on your sportsbook of choice. I would take the over on that one as well.
Dude, you're fitting in for Servo perfectly because Servo cannot help himself with the defense props, which he hits every week. I'm not saying he doesn't, but you're filling in the host chair perfectly, John.
Doing my best to fill in for Dan. It's a big seat to fill. Guys been carrying this show's water since its inception. You and I just pop in here once a week and spew off some NBA props for the people, and we go about our merry way. Anything else for you on Thursday Night Football? Or are we good to move on?
Let's move on to the association here, John.
We got a 4-game NBA slate here. Of course, James and I are the hoop heads here over at Fantasy Alarm and on Bettor Sports Network. You can find us with our NBA DFS Playbook Preview show in the mornings. You can find us going live after this show every single day, doing the NBA DFS Playbook Live show. So naturally, if we get a chance to take over the show, we're going to talk some NBA props and bets for tonight's matchups here.
I can't believe they let us do this, John. I can't believe they gave us another show to talk more NBA.
More NBA. No kidding. I too am a little surprised to that. 4 games on the NBA slate here this evening. We have the Raptors against the 76ers. Nick Nurse revenge game here with Philly giving 8.5 and a 214 total. We have Detroit versus New Orleans. New Orleans is giving 5.5, 215 total here. No Zion Williamson tonight. Maybe no Brandon Ingram tonight as well. So that's the news we're watching for the Pellies here. We got Magic versus Jazz. Orlando giving 1.5 with a 221.5 total there. Utah, sadly, just breaking my heart last night when they blew out Memphis by 30. And then we have San Antonio, Phoenix running it back after the Kevin Durant collapse at the end of that game the other day. Phoenix led that game for, they said 48 minutes and like 54 seconds or something like that.
47 minutes and 54 seconds. Yep.
Yeah. And then it was not to be. Phoenix is still a 9.5 point favorite in that one, 227.5. We think maybe Devin Booker returns here, questionable going into that one. So we got 4 games on the slate to discuss. Why don't we get into some of our favorite player props here of the day, Grande?
Yeah, I'll start with a darling of ours, John, Scotty Barnes. And I don't know what the sports books don't know, John, here. But what I know and what Scotty knows is that my man rebounds the basketball. And we're getting a prop over at BetMGM at 7.5. You know how many games Scotty Barnes has played this year, John? 5.
4.
5. You know how many times he's gone over 7.5 rebounds?
5.
5. 3 of which he's had double figures. The other 2, 8. Last night we saw him get 12 in 29 minutes. So even when games get out of hand, which this game, could potentially Toronto on a back-to-back, 8.5 point spread in Philadelphia. You mentioned a head coach revenge narrative, not something you'll hear every day, but that's the type of analysis we're dropping today. Scotty Barnes can get us there. So I'm going to go over 7.5 as my favorite prop tonight for Scotty Barnes.
Hashtag analysis. Love that.
Hashtag analysis, who continues to just shell out nothing but goodness in every facet of this season, whether it's his pregame, postgame fit, his postgame pressers, or his play on the court.
Scotty doesn't know the disrespect that he's getting right now.
He doesn't, especially when if he saw 7.5, he'd be ashamed at the sports books.
Guessing you don't. Are you too young for Eurotrip? Are you familiar with Eurotrip?
No, I already dropped the Scotty doesn't know reference to start this segment.
I missed it, Ben. I missed it. I missed it.
High five.
There you go. So you got it. Payless version of Road Trip. Nah, Eurotrip was way better than Road Trip. That's my own opinion. All right. My prop then. We'll go down. I got a couple for this game. Dennis Schroeder, 12.5 points. I mean, man has been a machine. We know he's an offensive gifted guard as it is. Going up against Maxey and Melton, maybe you're a little worried about that, but I think the volume is going to be there for him tonight. Going Dennis Schroeder, minus 125 on BetMGM here with the 12.5 points, Grande?
Dennis Schroeder has been someone that I was high on coming into the year. He won the EuroLeague tournament MVP, and he's playing with a coach that plays similar basketball to EuroLeague style. He has a first-time head coach in Darko, and he's fit like a glove. I don't necessarily love the matchup. I think Philadelphia is pretty good defensively, but they did lose PJ Tucker. They are without Nicholas Batum. They're a shortened rotation. Shooter didn't play a full complement of minutes due to the blowout last night. So, yeah.
Over in 3 of the 5 games, the 2 games he missed, he had still at 10 points. So
right there,
he's a bucket away basically from going over there. I like the Shooter line, especially the -125 to me here. Feels like a pretty good take.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I love Dennis Schroeder. So
I'll give up my next play in this game here before we move on to the next matchup. I also go with Maxey on the opposite side of this one, over 23.5 points. Again, it feels like the books are a little bit low here, given Maxey. And one thing we do know about Dennis Schroeder is how bad defensively he is. One of the guys that we've attacked pretty religiously over the last what feels like 10 years. Is anytime Dennis Schroeder's on the floor, we're going the guard in the opposite matchup here in this one. So give me Tyrese Maxey over the 23.5 points this evening. Again, just really liking on the guard play that we've gotten. Plus, as we know with Nick Nurse, they don't take these guys off the floor either. They just play 35 to 40 minutes a night. He's averaging 30.3 points per game as well. So I'm not really sure why the line is so low. He went for 26 last time out against Portland, 34 and 31 of the 3 games so far this year. So let me take Maxey with a 23.5 points here.
Yeah, and if there's any worry about the hand, he literally played with the hand injury last game and scored 26 points in 35 minutes. So I know he's not on the injury report. There was a hand injury. I don't know if that's baked into the number at all, but shooting 55% from 3 as well, just to get you that number a little quicker than normal. I'm going to go to one of my favorite targets tonight in the prop betting world and the DFS world, in CJ McCollum. I'm going over 4.5 rebounds for McCollum. He's done this now in back-to-back games. One game played without, or both games, I should say, played without Brandon Ingram. And now we're missing Zion Williamson, and potentially also Brandon Ingram. And McCollum is a good rebounding guard when he has to be. That's not something that he's always asked to do. But now back-to-back games where, he's been on the floor for big minutes. There's no key member of this team. And you have to, let's not forget, New Orleans is a team that already runs kind of a small lineup and probably is going to get smaller tonight with Zion not being there. So McCollum could, by default, be their second best rebounder heading into the night, especially if, once again, they go with rookie Jordan Hawkins at their starting shooting guard, which would in turn move 6'7" Herb Jones to power forward. So I really like the McCollum rebound prop. I think he gets over this pretty easily. It's plus money over on BetMGM too, so I'm really digging on that.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to go stay in that game here. Go at Oscar Thompson over 8.5 rebounds. If Zion's out, obviously takes away a potential rebounding competition. Same thing with Ingram's a guy that can crash the boards here. Oscar Thompson's been a fantastic rookie so far for Detroit. One of our favorite guys on a night-to-night basis to play in DFS. He's bringing not just the defense there, but lately as well, finding a way to score. But he's just been crashing glass. Until last game, we saw they had the Detroit basically had 3 guys averaging double-digit rebounds. He's averaging 9.8 rebounds per game. He had 7 last time out. He went for 10, 12, and 13 the 3 games prior. So going Oscar Thompson over 8.5 boards at plus 105 tonight.
Yeah, and the elephant in the room, Jalen Duren, questionable again, might not play.
Yeah.
So if Jalen Duren doesn't play, that's obviously a boost. Oscar Thompson also, John, in every single preseason game he played, also had 7+ rebounds. I think most of them finished in double figures. So he has never played a game in the NBA or preseason that he's finished with less than 7 rebounds. I know the number's 8.5, but just goes to show you how active he is on the glass. So I like that call. I'm going to go Larry Markkinen over 3.5 made 3-pointers. This is a guy who we saw break out last year, especially from the 3-point line. And if you're worried at all about Larry Markkinen's legs on the back-to-back, well, we've already seen him on a back-to-back this year. Yes, Utah got torched. Yes, Larry Markkinen did not have a great game. But what he did in that game was hit 5 threes. And he's now made 4 or more threes in 4 straight games since the opener, where he went 2 of 6. And none of these have really come against good defense or bad defenses. Denver, Memphis, Phoenix, and the Clippers, all plus defenses. Orlando is a plus defense according to the stats right now. But I like Larry Markkinen to make over 3.5 3-pointers for a 5th consecutive night.
I mean, again, you know that we are big Lauri Markkinen fans here. He is chucking from 3 and making from 3 as well. So definitely a big fan of that one. I got a couple of props in this game that I like. Jalen Suggs has been a surprisingly good rebounding guard for Orlando this year, taking advantage of the glass. We look at this Utah team. We know that they're not a great defensive team. They do have some guys that can grab boards, but guards haven't had too much trouble rebounding lately against them as well. And again, taking a look at Jalen Suggs and some of his recent games, we saw him have that 8-rebound game against LA. He just had 6 rebounds against the Clippers. He had 5 rebounds against Portland. The only game this season where he went under this was on opening night. You're getting plus 120 on the rebound prop for Suggs. I like going over on that one. And then Kelly Olynyk, what have we talked about the clinic lately? He's been coming off the bench for Utah and just bringing instant just energy and offense for this team, filling up the stat sheet, going up now against a Magic team that their bench depth, not really strong in their front court. He has the ability to stretch the floor. He's going to go out there and still take shots. So I'm not really too concerned, about his ability to, I think, hit the over on the points here. He's averaging 9.2 points per game as it is. Gone over this in 3 of the last 4 games here. So he's going to get on the floor. He's going to take some shots. He's going to shoot threes, giving him a better chance of scoring here. So give me the Kelly O points over 7.5.
I think something to be said too, Walker Kessler on the injury report today. I know he's
Right.
probable, but if that elbow is bothering him at all, that could flare up during the game and obviously impact him. My last prop is also in this game. Wendell Carter under 11.5 actual points. He has not been good offensively, and that's kind of what his bread and butter was last year. But 7, 10, 8, and 8 points for Wendell Carter this year. The shot attempts way down, 8, 8, 7, and 10. And if Walker Kessler is on the floor and stays healthy, he ain't getting shot attempts over that dude. He's 7-2 and blocks every shot. Blocker Kessler is what he's been coined. So I don't love the where Wendell Carter has been this year. He's been fine on the glass, and that's really the extent of it. So under 11.5 points, the streak continues here for Wendell Carter. I really don't like him all that much tonight.
Yep. We'll go to the final game here for me. We're going to take one of the more polarizing players, obviously, to begin the year. Victor Wembanyama. Whether you like him, love him, think he's off to a slow start, or he's going to be a bust. I'm going to take the rebounds tonight. Over 6.5 for Wemby here. He's gone over this total in 2 of the last 3. He's played 4 regular season games. 5 rebounds in 23 minutes, 12 rebounds in 31, 5 rebounds in 26, 8 rebounds in 28. He should be a good rebounder. He is a freak. They have him out there, got long arms. He finds his way to the rim on the defensive side here. I think he continues to be a bit more aggressive, especially down. And this game ends up being a competitive one here again. I'm not too concerned really about Phoenix and their rebounding. Nurkic is fine, but they haven't been playing him, I think, as much as you and I expected them to. And then Durant's rebounding is starting to tail off after his hot start. I almost took the under 7.5 rebounds for Durant, still kind of looking at that one. So I like Wemby overboard at 6.5 tonight.
He just needs to keep himself out of foul trouble, and this game needs to stay competitive. And even if it doesn't, he can still get there. He almost did in the Clippers game, despite only playing 26 minutes. So He's 7'3". He's bigger than everyone else on the floor. He's more athletic than everyone. He has the longest wingspan of all time. Like you said, I like this prop quite a bit for the most polarizing player we've had in the NBA since
LeBron. Kevin Durant came in the league with a lot of fanfare as well, So those are our NBA player props here for this evening. Guys, if you want some more NBA talk, stay with the channel. Coming up here at 5 o'clock Eastern time, myself and James Grande will be live with our NBA DFS show coming up. And then after that, 7 o'clock Eastern, I'll be here with Andrew Cooper, your Thursday night game day preview show. We'll make some showdown lineups. We'll talk about the Thursday night football matchup, bringing you some of our favorite bets and props more from that game here. And, of course, we'll answer your start-sit questions for NFL Week 9. Grande, it's been a pleasure filling in today for Servo, and you and I will be chatting shortly. Yeah. Any other words? No? We'll say bye.
No.
I guess James is just a man of silence. Guys, we'll catch you all later. Myself and Howard Bender tomorrow filling in for Servo. So a fun show coming up on the Bettor Sports Network betting show tomorrow. For now, we'll catch you all later.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports Network.